Hey, what's up guys? The ranked 23 player in the world has mashed together Mortar and Royal Recruits to create one of the most annoying decks in Clash Royale history. Royal Recruits have got you covered on defense on all sides. If opponents spam into you at the wrong time, they're going to get crushed by the counterplay, especially when the charging recruits give the opponent no time to breathe. Combined with the non-stop spam of the Skeleton King ability, the Spear Goblins at the river, and the Goblin Gang with Miner, there's a lot for opponents to deal with. And when most bait decks get blasted down by splash damage, this Mortar bait deck has solid defenses. The shields from the Royal Recruits, Mortar, Miner, and Skeleton King will all keep you safe, while Wizards will wondering why they're getting destroyed by bait. And for spammy bait decks like this, you don't have to be that good at the game to win. You catch opponents at a low amount of elixir with charging Royal Recruits, Skeleton King, or Skeleton Dragons, and you'll be catching wins all day long. It's time for our shielded soldiers to combine with Siege and assert dominance. Thanks to everyone that's using creator code SirTag to make all the daily videos possible. Yo, Elliot's gonna have a ton of cards that are indicative of a golem deck in his banner. Lumberjack, Baby Dragon, Skeleton Dragons, Heal Spirit. I mean, I guess it could be Elixir Golem too, but he's not cycling anything at all, so it's looking like it would be a golem deck. Typically, Elixir Golem players are significantly more vicious, and he's gonna let a Mortar lock onto his tower, and then he's gonna drop Barbarians. But he was sleeping at the job, I guess. I think that the Skeleton Dragons are going to put in a lot of work whenever we cycle them into this type of player that's got Barbril and Barbarians and a lot of cards that are ground oriented. So I want to save my Skeleton Dragons for when he cycles an air card. Like those Skeleton Dragons, I guess we can drop ours on if I want to. Or I could drop Spear Goblins off to the side and then get a bit of a faster card cycle. Reason why I'm doing this is because I know for a fact that if I drop them directly into the Skeleton Dragons, they're going to die, and I don't want that to happen. I'd rather get the counter push and the damage that the Spear Goblins yield for us. That's nice to have happen. We can go for a Skeleton King a little bit lower, and the reason why I'm dropping it lower is because we want to fight on our side of the map, so our Princess Tower is going to help out. If I dropped a little bit quicker, Skeleton King's got very long range, and he would have no problem damaging down Lumberjack from the river. All right, what are we going to do? Guy's going to go Golem and all in me right now, right? One of the difficulties about this deck that we're playing is we do not have Fireball, so we don't have a good answer to Electro Dragon or stuff that stacks up. So in that type of situation, I think it's important for us to go in for the majority of our recruits in the left-hand side to start to damage down the Golem. And when the Electro Dragon spawns, we can go for our Skeleton Dragons directly on top of it and then hope that this works out well. It's not necessarily a foolproof plan, but it is the plan that we have available right now. So that's what we're working with. Especially with our arrows, we might be able to go and kill it. Nice. That worked out about as well as it possibly could have. Not going to lie. Skeleton Dragon's going to get targeted by the Princess Tower. We can go for a Goblin Gang in the middle with the Lumberjack getting pulled into that. We worked around and found a decent defense. That was cool, you know? It's nice to figure something else out like that. All right, Spirit Goblins are going to die, but they might be able to work away on the Golem as well before they do die. Maybe he'll go for a Tornado on the Miner and fall for our bait. He doesn't fall for our shenanigans, unfortunately. If I go in for recruits, since they're evolved, I think they're going to stay alive a little bit longer, give us some more value, and then give us an opportunity to go in for Skeleton Dragons again and just see if we can get huge arrows value. Because obviously, if we can kill the Electro Dragon, we might be able to defend this. It's not easy, but it is a possibility now. I'm going to go in for our Goblin Gang and just pull everything all the way around the map. If the Skeleton Dragons don't lock onto our tower, that's all we need. Yo, that defense was so clean. Okay, 16 seconds remaining. I might be able to go in for a Mortar here. So then the Golem is going to pressure our opponent to drop other cards on defense because the Mortar will lock onto the tower. Yo, he's just going to eat the damage. Let's go. He was really fully freaking out on the defense, dropping the Electro Dragon to stop and reset the Mortar, and then using the Tornado, and he wasn't able to apply any meaningful pressure in the last couple seconds. That's one of the most difficult matchups for our deck because we have no good way of killing Electro Dragon, but if you play carefully like I did with your Skeleton Dragons and arrows, sometimes you can manufacture a win, even in some of the most shockingly scary matchups. Yo, Mooper, what's up? He's gonna have a P.E.K.K.A in the banner, so I'm actually kind of stoked. I always get excited when I see P.E.K.K.A when I've got recruits, because I know that I'm going to body block him every time. Oh, come on. It's not going to be a P.E.K.K.A deck after we see Fire Spirit and Skeletons. In fact, it might be Expo. He's got Evolved Knight. Everything is going wrong right now. I looked at the game, I was hyped up, and this is what happens. Okay, Clash Royale. We're going to go for Spear Goblins in the middle. Maybe he's not going to log on them. Yeah. Reason why we drop our Spear Goblins there instead of near the recruits is obviously a lot of times people like logging recruits. So he's not going to have the best card cycle to deal with a Goblin Gang and a Miner because he just dropped his log and he just dropped his Fire Spirit. So I think I can get damage. I guess a little bit of damage. We got one Spear Goblin hit on the tower there, guys. The massive investment of the Goblin Gang still kind of, sort of, maybe paid off for us in a decent way. Okay, so I don't love this, but I'm going to go recruits on defense here. And I think that we're going to stop the Knight. And then we're going to apply way more pressure than a Skeleton King would. So We'll vibe with it, and we'll see what happens. Gonna have cannon, so it's looking like a scuffed 2.6 deck, but with Earthquake, and essentially it's 2.6 with Earthquake Knight instead of a Ice Golem fast cycle with Evolved Skeletons and Fireball. So, how do we play this? How do we win this? I think the strategy for us most of the time against Firecracker decks is just to go Skeleton King here when they Firecracker. You look at it, you're like, easy K-Tower activation, but it didn't really work out because he's got Evolved Knight. So instead, maybe we can go for like Skeleton Dragons and then Miner on the Musketeer that is going to be dropped. And then we can Arrows on the Musketeer as well. I hope this works. I really want this to work. I don't know if it will, but maybe it will. Yeah, so we're not going to be able to kill the Muskie, but the Skeleton King... Oh, the Mortar! The Mortar did kill the Muskie! I didn't even think about that! That was awesome! It was so smart that I couldn't even understand my plays. My Mortar had a mind of its own, and it maybe chucked its brain at our opponent's tower there for some damage. That's cool. That's awesome. Ooh, Mooper is not ready for the bloopers. That was awesome. We floated that Mortar shot. Oh, we scored a lot of damage there. So I think we're going to go Skeleton Dragons, and then Miner again on the Musketeer. We know he's going to go in for our Skeletons. We can Arrows, make a prediction. Nice. Yeah, most of the time when the Knight's out of cycle, they're only going to have like Fire Spirit and Skeletons, so you can make those type of predictions in those plays. Skeleton King in the back is going to be a very nice added addition to our offense, and then we can go and rambunctiously counter him with Recruits, maybe go in for Skeleton Dragons again in the middle. Reason why we like Skeleton Dragons so much in this deck is a lot of times when people are running Hog Rider Earthquake is they won't have good answers to the Skeleton Dragons besides, you know, their Musketeer, and if you can snipe the Musketeer with the Arrows and the Miner, then you're set up for success. We're going to go for Arrows here just for some extra damage. Maybe the Skeleton Dragons are going to lock into the tower. The Recruit, though! Yo, charging through. That's what we like to see. That's what we're up to out here. Okay, so we're going to try to get Miner damage. I think that's going to be our best bet. We can go for a Mortar to go and pull the Hog Rider, and then Miner inside corner to try to finish off the game. We have to use our Skeleton King. Everything else is a little bit sketchy. Anything else, you look at and you're like, I don't know if you're going to get pre-logged or earthquaked. So I'd rather go and use the Robust Sir and bust down the tower with a Miner. The sturdy Skeleton King kept us safe while we turned our opponent into a skeleton. Hey, this guy's got an Archer in the banner. He's getting ready for the evolution to come. I'm going to go for a Mortar in the middle. We should be able to go and pull both of the Wall Breakers directly into that and hopefully lock onto the tower. Nope, he's going to go for a Goblin Gang. So we're going to go and soak up those Goblins with our Skeleton King and maybe unleash the Beast. Okay, so I'm going to go for Skeleton Dragons. Not going to unleash the Skeleton King ability just yet. In fact, I think it's going to be better for us to go for a Miner depending on what he does. If he decides to not do anything, I'll just go for the Miner in front of the Skeleton Dragons. And, oh, I was hovering the Miner earlier there. I thought he might drop like a Princess or something. But he drops a Dark Goblin later on. That's awful for me. Fortunately for us, we don't have to respond to the Wall Breakers because they got touched by the Skeletons. But at the same time, I'm looking at the game and I'm a little bit scared about this Dark Goblin. So I'm going to go for a Goblin Gang in the middle to cipher some type of defense that we can defend on both sides with simultaneously. And it worked out. It was okay. It was decent. For playing against someone with a log bait, ideally what we're going to do is we're going to go for Recruits in the back when he's going to go for his Goblin Barrel. And then we can catch the Goblins with the Recruits. And then we won't have to spend any extra elixir with Arrows or our Spirit Goblins on defense. But that's not what happens here. He's going to go in for his Rascals in the back. And we can Arrows on top of like a Goblin Gang plus the Rascals if we want. Or like a Skeleton Army if he ever stacks up too much stuff nearby. But he doesn't seem like that type of player. Especially if he's going to go for a log there. I think we're going to try to go for Arrows on top of the Dark Goblin. Instead of trying to snipe it with the Miner, it's just a little bit safer to immediately go for the Arrows. And we ransack the Rascal too. So, this is the point where we're able to go for the Skeleton King ability because he doesn't have login cycle. He will 100% lose the Prince. And then, if he loses the Prince and he doesn't log, he still might be taking damage from the Spear Goblins. No! So, one of the Wall Breakers would die, but we want both Wall Breakers to die, so we're going to go for the Goblin Gang there. Obviously, he's not going to be back to Dark Goblin. He could go for a Goblin Barrel. We don't necessarily have a good response to that. I think I'm going to Miner so then I can get back to our Spear Goblin so we can go counter the Goblin Barrel. We're going to drop the Spear Goblins off to the side. Notice how the outside Goblin gets targeted first by the tower. So then the Spear Goblins from the left are taking up the damage from the other two Goblins that we weren't immediately targeting. That's the placement that you want to do. You also want to mirror that same placement on the other side. They go for the Goblin Barrel. Just counter the outside Goblins and let the Goblin on the inside closer to your King Tower get targeted by your Princess Tower. It's easy to do, and it will save you a lot of damage. I want to Arrows here because I think it's worth it. Just killing the Goblin Gang a little bit faster is nice. Then his Prince doesn't break through. I bet he goes Dark Goblin, so we're going to make a prediction with the Miner here. It's a little bit risky to do. Wait, I guess we got the Rascal Girls, and that's totally fine too. You know what? If we were able to finish off the Rascal Girls and take the targeting from everything, I think that allows us to get a little bit more damage with the Skeleton King, keep our push alive a little bit longer, and look at the recruits. We are charging through with the value. That's what we like to see. So 16 seconds remaining. All we have to do is hold the door, and I think we're able to accomplish that quite easily. GG and well played. No Dark Goblin darting through and locking onto our tower today. And yeah, you know what? If we were able to crush a bait deck that quickly with our own version of bait, I think that this is a superior bait deck. I don't even need double spells. All I need is arrows and then relentless pressure. The main thing against bait decks is if you can defend with your Goblin Gang or Spear Goblins and get counter push instead of dropping arrows on defense, it allows you to arrows on top of their princesses or Dark Goblins, giving you much more favorable offensive situations. Because if their high damage range cards are immediately deleted, they're probably not going to be able to deal with your spam. Yo, what's up, Angel? The dude finished 172 in the world. The extreme cats, but he's not lunging at us. He's not pouncing at us. This man, I don't know. I don't think he's a puma. I don't think he's a lion. I think maybe he's lying about being an extreme cat. So I'm going to go for Skeleton Dragons in the back, and he'll probably have a Mega Knight deck if I had to guess. I prefer to go in for a Skeleton King just because it's going to be able to be a bit more thick, and it won't get pushed back by the skeletons. It's just a good card to have with our Skeleton Dragons as well. Also, I want to go in for a miner here. A lot of people will be like, why wouldn't you arrows? Well, we can arrows afterward because a lot of times bait cards are going to be dropped on defense there. And I didn't click with the Skeleton King ability. I think I should have. I really wanted to make sure that we killed all this stuff beforehand. Oh, he's going to make a pre-Barbaro prediction on a Goblin Gang. He doesn't have that in cycle anymore, so let's go for a miner. We've got Goblin Gang and miner coming at our opponent. He doesn't have Barbaro. How is he expecting to defend this? Got to go for a Skeleton King so much later. That is awful for him. Let's go. We recouped all of that damage just because we played slightly more passive than our opponent. Sometimes extremely good players, even top 200 players, will think that they can pressure you in positions that they shouldn't. And if they slightly overcommit into this deck because you have immediate punishing potential with fast moving cards, you can snag a lot of damage. So despite him being a good player, knowing exactly what we had in card cycle, because he messed up a prediction, he took way more damage. All right, so we're going to click the Skeleton King ability here. There's a chance he's going to have Fireball, but I want him to go in for a lot of bait cards that are going to get trounced by the skeletons. So not necessarily as valuable as it could have been, but forcing out a Firecracker is nice. Oh, you know what? I think that this mortar is interesting. It will activate King Tower against the Firecracker and hopefully take all the damage from the skeletons from the skeleton barrel. Nice! That is a 2-for-1 trade, baby. That was cool. That's 6 elixir down the drain with the Firecracker and Skeleton Barrel, and it also gave us King Tower activation. So we're taking the extremely good trades against Mr. Angel. I think we're the one that's blessed out here. Okay, he's got Barbarrel, so I'm a little bit scared again. Not going to mess with that too much. I can go in for a miner to go and pull back the Skeleton King. So maybe the Spear Goblins can stay locked onto the tower and force out some extra elixir. I don't think he wants to eat that. Yeah, he's going to go for a Barbarrel. He's freaking out. He's like, nope. Not today, Jake. Get away from me with that. Let's go for recruits. Because we have the evolution, we should be playing it a little bit more than we are, but because of his deck, because of his setup, I felt uncomfortable doing so. Because if you think about it, the Firecracker evolution is specifically such a hard card for us to counter. Speaking of the devil, I don't know if it's going to die. Oh my gosh. Chill, man. Calm down. Oh, no, 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 no. Is that going to lock into my... It is. It is going to lock into my tower. Why wouldn't it? Oh, this is looking really rough. I mean, we have 800 damage left on the right-hand side, so there is something that we can do here. Maybe we go recruits at the river. I think we go for recruits at the river because he's going to be able to build up Firecrackers and Skeleton Kings and annoying cards if we don't do that. So I'd rather play safe than sorry. Maybe going for an arrows on top of the Firecracker and a Goblins? Okay, we hit everything. That was superb arrows. Let's go. All right. Skeleton Dragons. Do splash damage for once in your life. Kind of working. Kind of not. Kind of, sort of, maybe. I don't know. Is it gonna work? I just want to kill the Firecracker. Please. Don't leave me hanging out here. All right. Firecracker's dead. That's what we needed. We're going to go for a rambunctious mortar. That was such a smart Goblin Gang again. He's making predictions for days out here. We're going to go arrows. We're going to eat a bunch of damage from the other side. I want the mortar to lock onto the tower. Doesn't happen. It's going to lock onto his mortar instead. Not good. Especially if he goes in for a Skeleton King and Evolve Firecracker. I think we're going to lose. I don't see a situation where I stop the mortar from locking onto my tower. Yeah, GG and well played. You can't win every game you play, especially against a top 200 player. He's had random Fireball in there that I wasn't necessarily prepared for, and the Evolve Firecracker splash damage did a lot of work. Really fun game. We'll bounce on the next one and bounce back there. Hey, let's go. Dude's got a Musketeer in the banner, and he knows he's going to be on YouTube. Let's go. We're dropping good luck, and we'll see what he's cooking. Obviously, if he loves log, I'm slightly scared because we have a lot of log bait cards. We've got the Skeleton King. We got the Goblin Gang, and then we also end up having the Spear Goblins that he just logged. Log is out of cycle, so we're going to go and see what the Skeleton King can accomplish. Yo, this might have been the most aggressive Hog Rider and most aggressive Skeleton King of 2023. I don't know if I'm going to get damage, but I really want it to work. Wait. Are we going to get the Skeleton King ability down? That is the question. Yes, sir. That is beautiful, baby. We are swarming him with skeletons and the skeleton dragons on defense to offense as well. I wonder if that was good for me or bad. I actually don't know. It seems weird that the skeleton dragons did way more damage than we got in the right-hand side from the Skeleton King individually, right? Sure, the miner did some damage on the right-hand side that amounted to around the same amount, but it's kind of funny, the fact that the skeleton dragons gave us more damage. So now we're going to be working on the left-hand side. We're going to go for an obnoxiously high mortar and see what he wants to do. I don't know this interaction if I arrows. I don't think it is able to kill the cannon, so I'm not going to do something super stupid. Instead, we're going to go for recruits in the back. We're going to build up a big push. We're going to try to cycle back to a mortar. One of the biggest difficulties against Hog Rider fast cycle decks is because they have a quicker card cycle than you. They'll get back to the Hog Rider before you're back to a mortar. So for that reason, we like to play a little bit more adventurously and aggressive in this type of matchup. I'm going to go for a miner. We could arrows on top of the musketeer if he decides to go for skeletons or something else along those lines. Yep, he's going for the evolved ones. We're definitely going to go arrows. And we're going to go for spear goblins off to the side. The recruits are locking on the tower. We'll see if he decides to go for a log or anything along those lines. Wow. Yeah, you know what? If we eat damage and you eat damage, it's relatively fair for me. I'm okay with that. The one thing about this guy is he's going head over heels obnoxious aggression when I don't have elixir and I'm expecting him to try to defend, and he's like, no. I'm allergic to defense even though I'm running 2.6 Hog Rider. Wait, he just logged. He tried to make a prediction log on top of a goblin gang so then the musketeer would lock onto the tower. He doesn't have log in cycle right now. I don't think you can do that. We're going to split up our goblin gang. We're going to go and spam our spear goblins on the left-hand side. And we have an influx of crazy shenanigans coming at him at every single angle. So I think he loses the musketeer. He might actually activate King Tower. Wait, is this guy a genius? Or is he getting demolished? I can't even tell at this point. It's funny, though. All I know is with 30 seconds remaining, I want to always be able to afford the mortar. So I'm going to try to be at 4 elixir when he goes in for a Hog Rider. I'm also going to go for a miner in the relatively safe spot. So then, you know, the King Tower is not going to be able to hurt us. I wonder if I'm able to defend. There's 18 seconds. Oh my gosh, there was 1 HP on the tower for a second. He's going to fireball. We want to go for spear goblins on the outside corner of the mortar. So then when he decides to fireball, oh my gosh, stop it. 7 seconds remaining. The musketeer is not going to lock on the tower, but does he get back to a fireball in time? I don't think he gets it down in time. Let's go. That was a crazy close game, but I don't know why I was so hyped. He had 500 HP on the right-hand side because even if he snagged the left-hand tower, he was definitely going to get slapped down to oblivion by the miner's shovel. Light's love for log wasn't enough to stop our immense amount of log bait spam. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more daily videos, and have an amazing rest of your day.